Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negro. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or are here watching this for the very first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense is because on this channel we discuss everyday issues and we try to find solutions. Unfortunately, not everyone uses logic. So, for that reason, it is called uncommon sense. I just want to let everybody know that right now we're currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope on Twitter. Now, before I begin, I just want to give a huge shout out to all those who have subscribed to my channel. Um, and I also want to give a huge shout out to those who watches my content on a regular basis, whether it be live or whether it be on the playback. And for those who have not done so, okay. And we got someone here in the comment. Okay. Good eve. Okay. You know what? You're going to be blocked. Oh, wait a minute. Good evening. Good evening. Just chilling. Okay. So, um, anyway, um, for those of you who have not done so, I'm going to ask that you please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do go live, um, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or watch it on the playback. Now, the topic for tonight is going to be why is it so hard to date single parents? Now, before we get into the topic, there's a couple of things that I'm going to be discussing in regards to my channel. Uh, First of all, I just want to let everybody know that look, I just I don't. Okay, let me just get. Okay, let me just get. Let me just. Anyway, getting back to okay, there's going to be a couple of changes in regards to my channel. Okay, first of all, I'm going to be doing a live stream completely in Spanish next Sunday, and the topic will be how to maintain the culture within our community. I just want to let everybody know that this will be the last stream, last call-in that will be done completely in Spanish. So after next week, all the call-ins will be done in English. Also, at the after the call-in on Sunday, May the 29th, um, there won't be a weekly there won't be a short video during the week. I'm going to be making a couple of changes. So, and you will be notified through Instagram. Now, getting back to the topic, um, and the reason why I'm bringing up this topic is because the fact of the matter is we do have single parents. Um, Now, when people talk about single parents, usually they talk about the single mothers. However, we also have single fathers as well. And the fact of the matter is, when dating single parents, they have their own issues to be faced with. But let me make this perfectly clear. Not everyone becomes a single parent in the same set of circumstances. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. You have people who become single parents because one of the parents had died. That's how some people become single parents. Another way people become single parents is through divorce. Unfortunately, the reality is you have a large number of marriages that end up in divorce for multiple reasons why. And then you have those individuals who become single parents because of the fact that relationships did not work out, and sometimes people make poor choices as it pertains to who they're going to have children with. Here, we're not going to pass any judgments on the why. We're just going to have a discussion. And a discussion is going to be what are the issues that does exist while dating single parents. Now, the link to join the panel is there or are welcome. What I'm going to ask is the following. Number one, please be respectful. Okay. Number two, any inappropriate comments and what have you, you're going to be blocked. It is that simple. I'm going to try to keep this stream relatively short because due to the fact that Latin Splaining has a stream that's going to be going on later tonight. And as you know, I also participate in her stream with Denise Gonzalez. If you have not subscribed to Latin Splaining, I would suggest that you do so. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some information. Just give me a moment. Okay, let's see. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read an article that I came up on a source called Healthy Framework. Okay. And I'm just going to read to you the article. If we had to guess, there are definitely two kinds of people here. Some of you are probably women who are interested in dating a single dad, but you're worried that there might be issues that you don't know about. You're curious what dating a single dad problem might arise, whether or not you can handle them, or is it not worth getting involved. Now, I'm going to be sharing information regarding single moms as well. So again, it's not going to be one side. The seventh group are probably single dads who are wondering if there's still hope out there and what issues you might run into that you can hopefully fix to make these things easier. If that's you, you got a much better guide for you with our okay. I'm not going to read that point. So let's just go into okay. The face that you shows that there are while we're dating a single dad is not the same as dating a guy who does not have kids. Let me just share with you many of the issues you're gonna find with dating with single dads. You're gonna find with dating single moms. If you're considering getting into a relationship or dating a single dad, we recommend coming here to figure out something that you're going to be okay with. Now, I'm just going to read to you some of the issues that can occur when dating. Okay, again, it's applicable to dating a single mom or a single dad. If you do not have kids of your own, let us tell you this. They are fantastic at consuming all of your food and all of your time. Kids require a lot of time, regardless of the age they are. As they get older and into their later teens, they usually become more independent, but still, there's still commitments that their dad is going to have to be there. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that you're going to have to share your man's time with their little one. And to be the spoiler, if they're a good dad, the kid is always going to take priority over you. It isn't anything against you, but it's their kid, and they should take precedence over you. That's going to be the same situation with the single moms. There's going to be times when you have to have dates scheduled, and they may have to cancel because kids get sick or got into trouble in school. They may be late to dates because the babysitter was late and they found out they had to do something for their kids' school. They may have to leave dates early because babysitters call and this kid gets sick. These are things that are going to happen, and you will have to be okay with them. You will have to be okay with being flexible and understand that your new man is going to have to take care of his kid, and it's going to require time, even if the mother is still in the picture. And again, I'm going to state it's the same thing applies with single moms. You have a responsibility that will have an effect on your relationship. The second dating a single dad problem is we want you to talk about is a piggy bank of the first one. You're going to see quickly that they have responsibilities to their child that will have an effect on your relationship. They are going to be time responsibilities, financial responsibilities, and moral responsibilities. Okay. Time responsibilities. These things are going that we talk about in the last section are going to. They're going to have to go to sports games, dance recitals, parent-teacher conferences, doctor's appointments, and whatever else kids happen to be into. Okay. Now, the financial responsibilities, kids are expensive. According to MarketWatch.com, kids will cost over $200,000 to raise on average, depending on your man's financial status. This might impact certain aspects of your relationship. If funds are tight, we charge a lot for single parents. You can bet that your daughter's son's field trip money is going to get paid before he decides he can afford to get you something nice. Now, let me just state, last year on Latin Explaining, Denise Gonzalez shared information regarding how expensive it is to raise a child up to the age 18. And I'm not too sure, but I think according to her resources, the price tag was $250,000. I don't know. Maybe I was. I don't know about that, but raising children are going to be expensive. Now, the moral responsibility, the kids watch and learn everything from their parents. This means that good dad is going to want to be an example to his kid. That means if you're a big fan of going on partying and doing what kind of stuff, you're probably not going to fly with a single dad, at least while he has his kid. If he has joint custody, it might mean the kid or kids are going to be away, but certainly not when they are around. And if it does not seem to fly with him, that they are around, you might want to question the quality of the man that they're looking to date. So the fact of the matter is, the responsible single parents, again, responsible single parents, they're going to try to provide a positive role model for their children. Now, another issue is there might be an ex-wife or an ex-girlfriend still in the picture. And it could be an ex-husband or an ex-boyfriend. Now, this is where it gets to issues regarding baby daddies and baby mamas. We save the best dating single dad problem for last. When we say the best, we mean the one that usually cause the most issues or fun, right? Here's the thing. It takes two people to make a child, which means that there's usually a pretty good chance that there's still an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife in the picture. Or as I can say, an ex-husband or ex-girlfriend, boyfriend. Are you going to meet or interact with her? It depends. The more serious the relationship gets, the more likely that it's going to happen. Now, if the two of them are cordial and things are ended amicably, it might not be such a big deal. You might see her in passing when she drops off her kids or picking them up. But that should be it. If she's around any more than that, you may want to question things already over between the two of them. So, and again, this is applicable to whether you're dealing with single dads or single moms. Now, we're going to give you the expectations. Um, Now that we have driven straight through all the negative stuff, we want to talk about the things that could be positive. We want to talk about what to expect dating a single dad. The answer is going to depend on how old is the kid, what kind of living arrangements the kid and the dad and the mom have, and how the dad chooses to handle things. And the same thing can be applicable to single moms. Okay. Even though there's articles regarding single dads, same thing applies. Things are going to be way different if the kid is a baby or a toddler, as they're going to have the more needs to stay alive. But aren't going to have to worry about having to meet and deal with a human being who's old enough to decide to embrace you or reject you. Living arrangements play a big role as well on how things are going and what you can expect dating a single dad. Again, this applies for single moms as well. If the dad has full custody, then you expect to be a lot more things than need to be discussed and worked out. Will you be meeting the kid? Are you ever allowed to stay over? How dates work, things like that. If it's during custody, the dad may opt to going on dates when the kid is with their mother. If that's the case, it will affect your scheduling a bit, but it's something that you should be able to work around. As things get more serious, they may look to introduce you to their kid, but that will be completely up to them and when they think it's right. If the mom has complete custody, then it's probably going to be pretty similar to dating a single guy with no kids. That being said, you might want to inquire to why they have custody of the child. We're not here to judge, but we want you to make sure that you're okay with everything that's getting you get into, and you're not being uncomfortable with the reasons why the dad does not have custody of the child. There are plenty of good reasons that he wouldn't, but there are also plenty of alarming reasons why it wouldn't work out. Just do your homework and answer my questions. Are we going to get into the cons and the pros of dating? Okay, here it's staying a single dad. It's going to be applicable to both a single mom and a single dad. Okay. First con, they're going to have less free time with you, and it's due to the reasoning that I just shared with you. You're not going to be the most important person in their life. The reality is this: anyone that's a parent, their priority is going to be their child or their children. It is a simple fact of reality. And if you decide to date a single parent, you are going to have to accept that. If you cannot accept that, then you're going to have to reassess whether you should pursue dating a single parent. There may be an ex in the picture who may be a great person or an evil witch. You may have to interact with them at some point. Again, there might be some baby mama drama or baby daddy drama. Their child will always come first financially. And it should be that way. Any responsible parent, whether it be a mom or a dad, will place their priorities on their children. They will have additional responsibility that men without children won't have. Okay? The same thing applies to single moms. They got to make sure that everything's okay with their children, as far as making sure that um, Their needs are taken care of, their emotional needs are taken care of, everything. So these are things that you have to consider. Now, here are the pros of dating a single dad. And again, to an extent, it's going to be the same with a single mom. They are typically much more responsible, mature, and grown up because they have to be. Okay. Now, again, we have to make a difference between the responsible single parents and the not so responsible single parents. The responsible single parents are going to have their priorities straight. They're going to make sure that they're going to act responsibly. And that means also waiting for the right time to introduce their children on whoever is their partner. You will get to see their true colors. They will always say that they can learn a lot about a man by how he treats his mother. But the same is true, if not true, with his children. That more or less is the same principle with the single moms. Many of them have bigger goals and dreams that are motivated by their children. Even though their kids are the motivation, you will enjoy the benefits if they succeed. They are experienced with kids if you ever want to have your own with them someday. Okay. If they are a good father, then they're going to be moral sound. Okay. Again, this is applicable to both single dads and single moms. If they are a good parent, they're going to be morally sound. And what do I mean by that? They're going to make sure that they're going to send a positive role model for their children. If you invite, if they invite you to meet their kids, you get a lot of fun stuff that you can only do if when you have kids. Okay. Disclaimer: I don't have children. I have never been blessed to have children. I was married. Unfortunately, the marriage did not end well. So, but the fact of the matter is, if they introduce you to their children, it's a good thing because that means that the relationship is getting serious, and there's a possibility that it can lead to something extremely positive. So now I'm going to park it here. Okay. Now I see that there are four people watching this stream right now. So what I'm going to ask, if anybody wishes to make a comment, you can do so in the chat. Anyone wishes to join the panel, you can do so. Okay. And also, after the stream, if you wish um, to leave a comment after the stream is over, by all means, you can do so. All that I ask is please be positive because negative comments are going to be deleted. It is a simple fact. Now, now I'm going to share. Okay, just give me a moment. Now, just as I shared information regarding dating a single dad, I'm going regarding sharing a single mom. Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you to bear with me. Okay, I'm gonna read to you something, and what I'm gonna read to you is something um, dating single moms. Um, so what I'm gonna share with you. Okay. So what I'm going to share with you is 9 tips for success. Okay. So I'm going to read to you the following. If you're in the dating game, single moms will likely be in the mix. In fact, according to Pew Research Study Center, Pew Research Center study, the U.S. has the world's highest rate of children living with single parent households, specifically those run by single moms. Single parents bring a unique perspective, priorities, and life experiences to the table, and that can make them great partners. They're often capable, smart, flexible, and they know what they're looking for in a relationship. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you what are things to consider. When dating a single mom, it's important that you adjust your expectations. In other relationships, you may be able to gauge a person's feelings for you by how much time and energy they put into a relationship. When you're dating a single parent, this isn't necessarily the case. They may not have the time to see you as often as you both would like. Single parents' time is limited, and much of their energy goes toward taking care of their kids. You need to look at the other expressions of their feelings for you. Another difference is many single moms are much more clear what they want in life. They can eliminate a lot of mystery and become an attractive quality in a relationship. Now, again, a lot of what I'm going to be discussing with the single moms are also applicable. So I'm sorry, single dads. It's going to be applicable to the single moms. So I'm going to try to share my screen. Okay. Just give me a moment. For single parents, their kids are likely come first. It's important to understand and accept this fact. A parent's devotion to their children is admirable and embracing, and it can help enrich the relationship and prevent you from becoming jealous. Depending on the child's age, they may be involved with a mother's decision whether or not to date. Children and single mothers often see their relationship with each other as highly intense and exclusive, and kids may experience some insecurity at the thought of their parents dating. It is important to respect that close relationship and allow your partner to navigate the things in a way that makes them and their children feel comfortable. Okay. Take it slow. Don't try to be too much too soon to your potential partner or their children. If you're not sure how involved you want to be with the kids, be open and honest with that. At the same time, it's important that you don't begin to take on a role that you can't maintain for the long haul. Follow the parents' lead when it comes to your relationship with the kids. It's important to give your relationship time to develop. Don't rush into becoming a parental figure, moving in together, or getting engaged. Instead, take it slow and focus on developing trust before you take your relationship to the next level. Okay, another issue. Be honest and upright. Are you looking for a hookup or interested in a long term partner? Is marriage a possibility? Do you see yourself co raising kids? Most single parents want to know what type of commitment that you're looking for from them and how you are willing to commit in return. Whatever the case, it's best to be honest and communicate as you start dating. Another thing, offer emotional support. Single moms are under tremendous amount of pressure to provide for their children financially and emotionally. Be the kind of partner who can listen without trying to solve every problem. They will work on it in time. Offer support and encouragement that will help you build a stronger bond. Practicing active listening can go a long way towards being an emotionally supporting partner. Active listening involves being fully present in a conversation. Active listeners are neutral and patient and may ask questions for more clarification or summarize what was said to show that they understand. They can make your partner want to share more and speak longer, and it may strengthen your relationship as a result. Now, this is something that's very important. Be trustworthy. As a single mother, your girlfriend may have experienced situations previously where they depended on someone who was not trustworthy. Set yourself apart by being someone who is trustworthy. Be responsible to them without being responsible for them. Now, I'm going to discuss something that's very important. Stay flexible. Single moms have a lot of responsibilities between working and caring for their children. They have limited availability, which can sometimes make it hard to schedule and keep dates. If the sitter cancels at the last minute or child gets sick, they may run late or need to cancel. Being a single parent also makes it hard to go on spontaneous dates since the child care is always a top priority. Now, another thing to don't discipline the children. If your girlfriend has introduced you to their kids, it likely means that they are serious about your relationship. Still, unless they specifically ask for your support, disciplining the kids will likely remain off limits to you. Dating a single mom, let it handle 100% of the decision. If you have concern about the kids' behavior, then talk with the girlfriend about it first. And and the reason one has a different concept on discipline, okay? And you have to be mindful of that. So for that reason, um, if the child misbehaves, then you discuss it with the mom. And the same thing would be applicable if you are a female. You would discuss it to the dad. Another a suggestion: don't pass judgment. It's easy to come from the outside and judge another person's parenting choices, and single mothers often face scrutiny for having children outside of a traditional married couple. This behavior will not be welcome or helping in your relationship. Instead of passing judgment, do your best to acknowledge that being a single parent is very difficult and try to view their choices in lifestyle from a place of helpfulness, compassion, restraint, and custody. Okay, so just move this. Give me a moment. So what we're gonna do here. So and we have someone here. So before I allow my guests, I'm going to read the disclaimer. The views of the guests who appear on the channel are not necessarily the views of the host of the channel. Any attempt to content material without the consent of the host, Jose Negron, or the channel on Common Sense for Jose Negron is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image on the channel. Some of the views with guests may be considered offensive to some viewers. Those who are on the panel who appear to be under the influence of alcohol or drugs will be removed from the panel and forever banned from the channel. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. So now we're going to bring in. Okay. Oops. Hello, Rakeem.
Hey, what's up? Shout out to my YouTube dad, Jose. How you doing?
Okay, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty
I'm
well.
okay.
Well, I can't complain.
Okay. I don't know how much of the stream. that you receive. But basically, I'm just sharing with the audience some of the issues that are involved dating a single parent, and they're applicable whether it be a single mom or a single dad. So I don't know if you have any views on the topic.
Well, like I'm just joining. I'm just joining, and I can say it's a double-edged sword. I believe that it's, some people you can date out there as a single that are single parents. It depends on if you are willing to accept it. Some
Mhm.
people, they have standards where they won't date um, single parents. I've dated a single mother before. I've, yeah, I've had a relationship with a single mother, and like I say, it can be a double edged sword. It depends on what type of person you're dealing with. You can be dealing with a woman that's a widow who might have lost her, her significant other or something like that. You can be dealing with somebody that's, I don't know, maybe have two or three, uh, you know, children from previous relationships, and you can just find yourself in a situation where it can either be good, depending on if you mesh well in that situation. If you don't, you can just find women that don't have any children, or a woman that's trying to date a man that that don't want to deal with a situation where he has children. So it can be a double-edged sword either way.
Okay. Well, let me just make this perfectly clear. We're not here to pass judgment on how people became single parents because there are multiple reasoning. Okay. What we're doing is we're trying to explain what are the issues that exist in dating a single parent. But let me make this clear. Not everyone is capable of dating a single parent. Okay. And you have to be honest with yourself. If you're the type of person that would rather date someone who don't have children, um, just be honest. And at the same time, we should not be passing judgment regarding single parents because not all single parents are the same. You have responsible single parents and you have irresponsible single parents.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely, definitely. Unfortunately, it's a lot of irresponsible single parents that speak the loudest, and shine a bad light on some people out there that are single parents that are doing the right thing by their children. Um, you also have to look at the fact that you have men. I can only speak particularly for men. Well, I guess I can speak for women as well. You've had people in general who've gotten in relationships with single parents, and it just did not turn out well. It was a very complicated situation. If they had, an ex from a previous relationship that was, whether it's dealing with harassment, dealing with threats, you know, um, really the children not really receiving the person in that relationship well. And once you are dating a person, well, if you're serious, you take on responsibilities for that child. So I have heard horror stories of men who've actually got into serious relationships and taken care of children that became their stepchildren, and they would not appreciate it, and it was not reciprocated well. And in the end, all of the effort that they put into didn't amount to anything. So situations like that happens, and I think a lot of people, those are some of the stories that people hear. But also, what can happen is that you can really get along with the child. You can have that connection with the child, and you can, you know, you can mesh well and develop a strong bond with that child as time goes on, and you know, things can work out in your favor. It depends. You have to be able to analyze the situation and see the red flags before you step into that.
Mhm. I agree. Now, I was married to a single parent, and she had two children from two different daddies. Now, fortunately for me, well, okay, one of the few things that fortunate is that I did get along with her children. So there was no serious issues. The issue was with the mother. I mean, and but again, let me make this perfectly clear: not all single parents are the same. Um, there are single moms that have done a stellar job with their children. The same thing could be said for single dads. But the reality is that there are some irresponsible single parents.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Actually, and a slew of problems can come from that. If you actually get involved with a person that's irresponsible, if you chose to continue to deal with that person after you've seen the red flags, then at the end of the day, you have to hold yourself responsible because it is, people out here that are looking for someone not in particular to be in a relationship with, but looking for someone to be alone, taking care of their children. That happens a lot as well, and I've seen it. You have certain. We seen what's going on with certain women. It's stepdaddy season. They just think that they can just step into a relationship or get acquainted with somebody that's just gonna accept them with multiple children by multiple men. And majority of the times that's not the case unless he's a man that don't really have much going on for himself and he has multiple children by multiple women. Shout out to my YouTube sis Denise and shout out to my boy introvert Boricua.
What's going on,
Yes,
guys?
good evening, Ramon. Good evening. Oh, I'm sorry. Good afternoon, daughter. Um, let's see. People with kids need to deal with people with children. No one wants to deal with that mess. Uh, I'm going to agree and disagree partially. Okay. So, Ramon, the topic for tonight is why is it so hard to date single parents? Okay. Now, when we think about single parents, we think about the single moms, but there's also single dads. So I don't know if you have a viewpoint on the subject.
Well, in the past, there have been there have been a couple of instances in which I have dated somebody who had a kid because my limit is one. If the woman has more than one kid, I know that's not gonna work. So I have been flexible enough to say, okay, if she has one kid, then I guess I can work with that. And I have been in that situation a couple of times, and for the most part, it was all right. It was all right. It was okay. Hey, Denise, what's going on, chica?
Yeah.
And I wasn't judgmental because sometimes it was a situation where the woman had a kid when she was very young and she didn't really know much better, but she learned the lesson from that, so she didn't keep popping out kids like that. So that's why I will take a chance on somebody like her because they learned the lesson early. Now, if it were somebody who has like 3 or 4 kids by 3 different baby daddies, when that will be different. She's already showing me that she's irresponsible. She's already showing me that she's being careless with when it comes to her sex, and that's already a really a big red flag. So I would rather not get involved with that. I mean, if she can make a little time and maybe we'll do what we have to do and that's it, and she goes back to her life and I go back to my life, that will be one thing. But actually having a relationship with somebody who's already showing that she is irresponsible with it, I mean, just like a dead, what they call the deadbeat dad who goes around and he doesn't care if he goes around impregnating other women and being irresponsible with it. It's kind of like it's in the same token. But if she has one kid and she's a young adult, and I'm not really gonna be too harsh on her because those things happen. And I have dated a couple of women that have been like that, and for the most part, it's okay. It's all right. It hasn't been an issue. At least she comes from from a situation where, okay, she had some support when it came to her family, and she still had somewhat of an okay upbringing, so she wasn't already overly damaged, and she wasn't having attitude. So I didn't have much of a problem there.
Okay. Well, I think, as I stated before, we have to make a distinction between those who became single parents because the other parent died. So that's a difference between that and then, from the couple getting a divorce or basically because the boyfriend or the girlfriend has moved on. So that's something to take into consideration.
Yeah. I mean, really quick, I see what Denise is saying. I mean, if I were to we're trying to have a conversation with somebody who has a kid, and the kid is so young that needs the mother's attention constantly, that's already something that is telling me that it's not going to work out, because if the kid is constantly kind of like fussing and needing the mother's attention, I'm gonna be telling her, okay, I'm gonna hang up. Get to your kid. Tend to your kid, because your kid needs attention. Needs your attention. Needs you. Bye. That's all I'm gonna be able to do. But I think, Rakim, I think you were gonna be saying something.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, absolutely. Like I agree with what Ramon was just saying. Um, a majority of the times as well, it depends on the person. Like, because there's some people out here that don't like kids. There's people out here that don't want kids, and those are the last people that should get in a relationship. If because sometimes as men, our minds tend to think about like, man, she fine as hell. Like maybe I can deal with it, but no. If it's a situation where you feel like that you don't like kids, and you don't want to be dealing with kids, and that's a situation that you should not get in a serious relationship. I wouldn't even recommend getting in any relationship at all, because we all know sex can lead to intimate feelings. The more and more you become intimate with a person, and then before you know it, you second guessing your first mind, and then as time goes on, if that's a situation you didn't want to be a part of, then that can lead to resentment later on as the years go on. So that's something that you do not want to involve yourself in. Me personally, I like kids. I've always liked kids ever since I was a child. I'm very, sensitive to children's feelings, because I can remember when I was a child. Some kids can sense bad energy, and they can sense when there's certain people that don't want to be around them and don't really like them or care for them. And I remember that as a kid, and I still got that childlike mind where I can relate to kids, and know how to cheer them up, and know how to make them happy and stuff like that. So I got plenty of. I'm the oldest out of five, so I got plenty of brothers and sisters that was young, and my younger cousins and little nephew and different things like that. So with me, I've always loved kids, but for a lot of other people, they don't like kids so much. So that would be something to consider.
Well, in my case, I have a relationship with a single mom. The difference is she has only one child, and the child is basically more or less an adult. So that's a different situation entirely.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
So whichever
Yeah,
wants to comment.
Yeah,
No, go ahead.
somebody that I have been talking to for a long time. She's somebody who has a kid, but is adopted. It's a little different, because she couldn't have kids of her own. But the kid is not like a little child that needs constant attention. That she's almost a teenager now, so it's not. It's she's not so needy anymore like that. She used to, but not so much right now. So, and I'm not passing judgment. She adopted because she couldn't have kids of her own. So,
Mhm. So, Joaquin, I think you wanted to say something just a moment ago.
no, I was just agreeing with what you had said. just a minute ago. But
Okay.
like me personally, like from especially the woman that I was in a relationship with for a while, her daughter used to ask about me a lot because she wanted to know what had happened to me. Because anytime that we was, together and everything like that, I always, treated her well and, you know, do kid stuff with her. Kids love that type of stuff. So once they develop that type of bond, that's the only thing. Once you break up with that person, once they develop that type of bond, it can have an effect on the child.
Yeah, it can affect
Okay.
them. It can affect them negatively, and that's something that one has to be cognizant of, because that those are the ones that usually when people break up, if there are kids, they're usually they're always the one that get affected the most. So they have to be taken into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree because unfortunately, that's one of the unfortunate situation regarding um, the divorce is due to the fact that my ex-wife had a younger child, and it was very hard. It's just unfortunately there was issues that I could not resolve with my ex-wife. And Denise is saying, "Well, yes, I'll say, it, but that ain't no child. You have a kid is an adult. If it was a 4-year-old, the story would be totally different."
No,
You know,
that's what I'm.
and I yeah, go ahead.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, kind of like with the woman that I'm talking to right now. Her kid is almost 10 years old now, so it's not. She's already kind of like worrying a little bit more about going out and playing with other kids, so she's not needing to be on her mom's lap all the time. So I'm not. I can call at any time, and she will say hello too. So it's all good.
Hmm. Yeah, but unfortunately, and again, I say this unfortunately, um, the irresponsible single parents are the ones that get the most noise. I mean, we all see it, particularly on social media, like on TikTok and Snapchat and what have
Well,
you, and
I'll stay
you
off
know,
all of us. I don't mess with that. The TikTok, Snapchat, all of those other platforms. Those are kind of like for the younger generations, and there is a whole bunch of ignorance going on over there. I don't bother.
Absolutely.
I don't even
Absolutely.
I don't even
I
do
barely
Twitter.
mess with Twitter.
Yeah, me neither. Me
okay,
neither. I don't deal with not even Twitter, and I have a Twitter account, but I don't use it. I never look at it because I'm just gonna stress myself out. I don't bother.
okay. Now Denise has another comment, which is no single parent dating a single folks. Well, okay, you know what? To each one's own. That's all I'm gonna say.
That would be the ideal. I agree. That would be the ideal. But if I were to try to get together with a 22-year-old, then yeah, that would be the ideal. But I'm a little older now, so I can't be trying to get together with somebody who's still in college and who's still partying and bullshitting and who's gonna be more prone to waste somebody's time, so they don't know what they want yet. I mean, sometimes it's kind of like a trade-off. At least a slightly older woman may or may not have a kid, but at least they have a better idea of what they want to do. I mean, they
Okay.
don't want to waste time.
Yeah,
Now
facts.
now Denise has said a couple other comments. Which was we saw a thought mom in 2020 twerking G for her own kid. Now the thought mom takes her son to the club. Now, what type
Yeah,
of person would? I mean, come
yeah,
on.
but that's super ratchet. I mean, that's taking it to an extreme. I mean,
And then
nobody's gonna tell me that that's the norm. That's becoming the norm. Okay, that's an extreme example of ratchetness, That's somebody who could. They need to call Child Protective Services.
Yeah. And then she also states, if you're a childless person that's of dating age, stay away from single parents. Follow me for more advice on that. Uh, I don't know what I don't know what to say on that. But again, to each one's own. So, but
Yeah,
but it. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Joaquin.
no, but Denise, you're saying that there are childless 30-year-olds, but what's the baggage there? There has to be there's usually some baggage. I mean, they have a lot of mileage on them. I mean, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's something that can be trustworthy. I mean, a lot of these modern Western women, when they are single, if they are single and childless at 30 years old, it only makes me wonder how much baggage are they carrying.
and
But there might be other factors. I'm sorry. Go ahead. There might be other factors why a 30-year-old may be childless. So, we have to take it by a case situation. Now, Denise saying
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are
yeah,
single
yeah.
moms. Yeah.
Mhm. I get it.
Okay.
I
I'm
get it.
sorry. Okay. I'm sorry,
oh
Ricky. I
no,
think you was
no,
about to say something.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, I was just saying like what Ramon was saying. Like what we're seeing now is that a lot of these modern women have been so brainwashed to the point they think they can just make whatever mistake. Like you'll have a woman who has three children by three different baby fathers and still think she's on par with the woman with no children. And rest in peace to Kevin Samuels because that's what he was pointing out. And believe it or not, some women like that strong single mother, I did it all by myself trope. So they would literally purposely get with men that are not of any substance, that are low caliber type of men, just to have children with that man, knowing that that man is not going to take care of those children, raise those children to say, oh, I did it all by myself. Shout out to me. You see a lot of that. You see a lot of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah, that make it seem like that's some kind of an accomplishment. That's not an accomplishment. I mean, all that they're doing is complicated things for themselves and making it more difficult for the children because they're the ones who are gonna have to take in the fact that they're growing up without their dad and that whole notion that the mom can be about the mama and the daddy. That's a whole bunch of nonsense. That's something that goes back to the second wave of feminism, where when the feminists were telling other women that they could do both things, they could be both the mama and the daddy, and there are certain women that still believe in that to this day, and it's not working at all. And a lot of those children, when they grow up, they resent the mothers because of it, and because it had a lot to do with their attitudes. It didn't have that much to do with the dad. The supposed dad did what they were gonna do. That they were gonna do. That the mom knew that they were gonna do. That they were not gonna be reliable. That they were gonna be a deadbeat. That's something that usually the mom can tell. Isn't aren't the women supposed to have this great intuition when it comes to men? Why is it that women become so dumb about the men they like? Usually about the men they like, that they're attracted to. When certain women, they become so attracted to a certain man, they become dumb to them, and they don't see what's obvious. I mean, they know that they have like 4 or 5 different baby mamas before them, but they still get together with them because they swear that it's gonna be different, that he's gonna settle down with her, and he's gonna be a good man to her, the way that he wasn't a good man to the others. I don't get it. I don't get it. And these are the women that claim to be so well educated, that they are so intelligent, that they know so much, that they have all this intuition, that they can read people and all of that. But these are the ones that keep falling for that mess. I will never
But
understand. I stopped trying to understand it because trying to understand certain women is just impossible.
mhm. But just to give you an idea, tonight Denise will on her on Latin's planning, she's going to be talking about the Last Samurai regarding the death of Kevin Samuels and what's going to become, because you have people who used to be relationship coaches that have left because you have certain individuals, mainly women, that have crazy or unrealistic expectations.
No,
Okay.
Denise, prepare to be called a pygmy, prepare to be called a mammy, prepare to be called a mule, because because you are not trash talking Kevin Samuels. I mean, get ready, because you are gonna get called all of that.
And
Well,
you know
go
what? I
ahead.
just say this because, like, to piggyback off of what Ramon was saying, I found myself, and this is not a diss to any of the ladies, anything like that, but I found myself thinking like that as a child. Like I can remember being 15, 16 years old, and I can remember people around me saying, "Oh, women mature faster than men. Women mature faster than men." And
Oh, I've heard that before.
I would
Yeah,
say, then why they keep making all these dumbass decisions? And I
yeah.
thought that at 16. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, if you know that's gonna jeopardize you, and you know what? And I think most men would not have an issue with the decisions these women made if they stood 10 toes on that decision. I think it's the fact that a lot of women try to come back and piggyback and complain about decisions that they consciously made because they don't like the end result of that decision that you knew was a strong possibility before you made that decision. And it's just like, okay, the man I didn't want him then, I wanted this guy. Oh, it didn't work out, but hey, you, the guy that I didn't want, I want you now, so come over here. The the selfishness and the narcissism when in regard to that type of situation is astronomical to me. But
Yeah.
not to veer too much off topic, but we do have some great single moms out there that handle their business. That will say, look, and some women will actually be honest and say, look, I made a bad decision. I was stupid when I was young. Things didn't work out. I can respect that. It's the single mothers out here who sit there and they want all of this credit. Oh, I raised them all by myself. But if he ends up somewhere in upstate Illinois in somebody's penitentiary or in Cook County jail, then it's because his father wasn't there. That irks my nerves. That's something that I can't respect.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, Denise expressed a couple of comments.
Yeah, that one about the guy, about the woman that left the husband to be with a guy that had 8 different baby mamas. Like, what the hell? What is the common sense there? Wow,
There is no, okay. That person did not
there is no
show
common
common
sense.
sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
common sense at all.
that's why this stream is called Uncommon Sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, but I didn't know it was to that extent. The lack of common sense in some people. I just didn't know. I'm learning about this now because
I agree with Ramon.
yeah, because people can make a mistake here and there. We're human. Yes, there are lapses in good judgment that one can have, but these are repeat offenders. These are people that are being repeat stupid. They repeat stupidity. Like, what the hell? Doesn't These are not
Okay,
mistakes. These are willing. It's willing stupidity.
but what is so stupid that you have single moms with 3 or 4 baby daddies. They
Yeah,
call on Kevin Samuels
yeah,
and for advice.
yeah.
And then they get upset because he's doing the truth without filter. And these are the cackling hyenas that's laughing and celebrating his passing.
Oh yeah, they're twerking. They're twerking over his passing, which is very unfortunate. It tells you something about their lack of character. They have shitty character, and they're not understand. And I bet you that many of them consider themselves to be good Christians, not understanding that if there were such Christians, they will know that speaking ill of the dead is a major sin. You see, they don't
Yes.
understand. They don't understand certain parts of being Christian that are convenient to them. I'm not a religious person, and I still know that, and I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare celebrate somebody dying suddenly.
And you know what? There's something that's wrong with your own soul that rejoices in the death of a person. Okay. Now, what I actually did when Saddam Hussein was killed, okay, I prayed for his soul. Now, of course, we all know the evil that he did, but no matter what, you do not rejoice in the death of a person because what that does, it brings out a lot of curses your way.
Yeah. There was a lot of celebration when it comes to that over here. When when Saddam Hussein was hanged, there was a lot of celebration over here when Muammar Gaddafi was killed, because that's something that was orchestrated from over here. I mean, it was because of what he was trying to do. We all know that story as to why Gaddafi was killed. But a lot of people were celebrating, and there were, of course, there were the celebrations about the supposed killing of Bin Laden, which I have my doubts about because the man, there is information, there is reason to believe that what they claim may not have actually happened. He may have he may have already died before the so-called raid in Pakistan. But getting back to the subject, uh, and I'm not a again. It's just I have never seen something like this before. So many people celebrating, so many people trying to capitalize, trying to eat off of the man's name because it's still happening. The detractors that are have platforms and that are content creators, they're eating off of the man's name, making sure to put his name on the titles of the videos that they're making, trashing him, trash talking him. Oh, they're making sure that they put his name in the titles of their videos because they're eating off of it. They're profiting off of it.
Yeah. And what these laughing hyenas fail to understand is that a mother lost her son, a young lady lost her father, close
They don't care.
friends lost a compadre. So where is the collective the women collective regarding that?
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. They don't care because really, a lot of the times that's just a facade. That's not really how they honestly feel. You part of the sisterhood as long as you're bashing men. It's until you decide to think otherwise that you become a opposition to the sisterhood. And what we're dealing with now that I never understood was media, because it's crazy how media has depicted minorities in this country to be a particular way, whether it be African American, whether it be Latinos, Asians. The history of American media has pictured minorities in the negative light majority since the beginning of media in this country. And it's crazy to see how people have repeated the same cycles on YouTube, because they would say things that they know that's not true. They would say things with lack of research, but since they know it's what the audience want to hear, they pander to these particular people. We saw it with Derrick Jackson. We saw it with various content creators. And we've even seen content creators. I know Ramon's been on here as long as I have. We've even seen content creators that came in one direction and now have completely did a 360 into another just for viewership and subscribers. So
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing people manipulate their audience by telling whatever narrative that their audience want to hear for the views. We've seen it with, I don't want to say a name, but we know who I'm talking about. We've seen it with the black male pathology. We've seen it
Yeah,
with
yeah,
her.
yeah. We're not going to mention names because they don't deserve it. We're not going to be promoting that here.
Yeah.
But they sound like a
Well,
broken record because they're making the same videos over and over again. But it's all complaining. It's all complaining because they're still gonna lay up with those same guys that they're complaining about. Watch.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the thing that I don't understand. I'm like, when do you get tired of hearing the same thing? It's like watching a rerun on television. How long am I going to continue to watch this rerun episode before a new episode comes out? And practically, people would rather pay to hear, especially women. Men are not usually like that, because that's one thing that they don't say about uh, Kevin Samuels was that when he was on here critiquing men, men were very receptive to that critique.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah.
receptive.
I've seen some of those older episodes, and these women conveniently ignore the fact that Kevin Samuels was actually really harsh on the guys. But you don't really hear guys coming out and trash talking him because they got the feelings hurt. I'm not really seeing that. Are you seeing something like that
No,
coming
no,
out?
I haven't seen that, Ramon. Usually the guys were very receptive, and that's because us as men, majority of the times, we're so used to hearing harsh criticisms as children.
Yeah,
We're used to, whether it be your father, your uncle, or somebody pulling you to the side and saying, "Hey, come here. Why the hell did you do that? You know how dumb that was doing that." We're used to that, and we're told a harsh reality as we get older that you're gonna have to go out here, you're gonna have to make a living, you're gonna have to provide. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about your feelings.
yeah,
Men are not coddled at all. And the men that are coddled are usually coddled by their mothers, and and some of them can end up resenting their mothers for that, because once they go out into the world to see how harsh it is, they realize that they were told the same delusional fallacy that a lot of women believe, and once it hits them in the face, then that becomes the issue, because that becomes too much to bear on how rough that the world can be as a man. But no, I have not heard any. Usually, the only ones that's been criticizing Candace Samuels is the simps that are looking for women's approval. Other than that, any real men that watch them, and I've learned a lot as far as you know, learning about suits, which shoes, Oxfords,
yeah.
different thing like that. And I'm pretty sure you were seeing them around too, Ramon. I was familiar with Kevin Samuels from the fragrance community, so I have been watching the man ever since then, and saw him transition into the manosphere. So
Yeah, yeah.
actually, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing a live call-in, and the topic will be obsession with concepts. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discussing what are some of the obsessions that we do see in YouTube. Okay. And I think you all know what some of the concepts that I'm going to be discussing it, because we have discussed it, not just here, but also in Latin Spain and other platforms. So I'm sure I'm going to get a couple of haters on that topic. But it's my channel. I'll talk whatever it is what I want to talk about.
Right, right.
So
Yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if you guys got listen to the announcement. Next week's stream will be completely in Spanish. It'll be the last Spanish call-in, at least for now. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about how to regain our culture within the Latino community. So, and
All right.
yeah. So, what? So, Joaquin, you have anything else you wish to share on this topic?
yes, I was just gonna say, of course, just like once I said before, me personally, I've dated women that's single mothers. Me being now 34, that's going to become difficult to run across. So I suppose you still can run across women that are single without any children, but I don't completely. I have to analyze the situation before I get myself into a situation where I'm dating a single mother. But I'm not completely against it either. It just depends on the situation. If I mesh well with that person, or I can see building something with that person. It depends. But yeah, like unfortunately, I think it's time for the single mothers to also step up and combat against a lot of these other women out here that's giving single mothers as a whole a real bad name. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah. A lot of entitlement. A lot
yeah,
of entitlement. Not understanding that they're already at a disadvantage when it comes to dating. They're not understanding that. They don't want to let that sink in. Them being single mothers, they are already at a disadvantage when it comes to the dating game.
yeah, right, right. And I've even seen single women uh, stand up for women that were single mothers by two, three different baby daddies. And I would, and I remember having a conversation with a girl, and I was like, so you do realize what you're doing is that you're advocating for her to get first dibs on a man over you, right? And you don't have any children. And she had to, and I was like, I know where it's coming from. I know it's because when you're friends with a lot of women that are, single mothers by, all of these different men, they have a tendency to shame you to the point that you're trying to defend them for acceptance. And that's exactly what you're doing. And she had to stop and think for a second. And she was like, you know what? I'm like, because I mean, if a Brad Pitt or somebody wanted to date you, you're gonna advocate for your friend that got three different baby daddies for him to take her over you? Come on, just be real. When it comes down to it, you're not gonna let that happen. So
Mhm.
Right, right.
So what I'm gonna do, because remember, Latin explaining is going to be on tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to wrap this up. We're going to have like a very brief session in the backstage because I do have some information to share you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to take final remarks. I'm going to ask, please try to keep it brief because I want to have like a short backstage session. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with the 18th letter.
okay, my final remarks is that um, for women that are single mothers, can the date market be difficult? Yeah, it depends. It depends on your situation. If you're willing to do the work, you're willing to make sure you keep yourself up, and your expectations is not through the roof that of a single woman that has no children, you would definitely be able to get a man, and you would definitely be able to get a man of means. But if you have narcissistic ways and narcissistic tendencies, and you feel that you are above certain calibers of men, then things can be real rough for you as time goes on. Because when people are young and you feel like you got time ahead of you, and you feel that, oh, I should be able, this is what I want. That's what you want, and that's fine. But reality have a tendency to make us face the truth, whether we like it or not. And as the years go by, that'll tell you what if the decision that you made was a good one or a wrong one. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, so what I'm going to thank you very much, Joaquin, for your input. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the backstage. Please don't go away. Okay. Oops. Okay, Ramon. Oops. Okay. One moment. Okay, Ramon, your final remarks.
Okay, really quick. Yeah, first of all, of course, I appreciate you letting me on your panel. And another one of those subjects that can be touched on later again because it can be a little complex. It's not simple at all. We all have met somebody who was in that situation, that and being with single motherhood, and how do we deal with them? And sometimes people are trying to date anyway. People can be single parents, but they're still young enough that they still want to be able to go out there and see what's out there when it comes to relating to other people and being in relationships. So it's not so much of a simple situation, and I'm not against them. I'm not against it. Sometimes there are things that happen that it just is what it is when it comes to already having a kid. But if they are responsible with it and they can keep it balanced when it comes to having to tend to the progeny and having to tend to another new relationship, if they can keep it balanced, then they should be okay. They should be okay. It takes work, and there is gonna have to be a lot of cooperation on the part of the single parent towards the new person in their life. That they're gonna have to work at it to make it happen. And of course, the new person in the life of the single parent, they are gonna have to be understanding as to where the priority goes always. But they're gonna have to work at it, and it's not impossible. It's not impossible. It takes a very level head, being level minded for it to happen, for it to work. And hey, I'm not gonna say best of luck, because it can sound a little bit maybe dismissive, but yeah, still give it a try, but tending to what is priority, what the responsibilities are first. And with that, again, I appreciate you having me.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to put you, Ramon, in the background. Please don't go away. Okay. Now, I'm just going to give you quickly my final remarks. Dating a single parent, whether it be a single mom or a single dad, has its own challenges, but it also has its own rewards. It all depends on what are your expectations and what you are prepared to do. So I'm just going to encourage anyone after this stream, if they want to leave a comment, by all means do so. I'm just going to say a couple of brief words in Spanish. El próximo domingo vamos a leer nuestra última proclamación completamente en español a partir de las 7 de la noche, y vamos a hablar sobre cómo mantener nuestra cultura, por la razón que después de la primera generación, la persona que son parte de la diáspora empieza a perder poco a poco su cultura. Entonces vamos a hablar sobre este tema. That being said, I thank Denise for her comments, and I thank everyone who entered their comments in the chat. So that being said, I'm going to close the same way I always close. Do not let the errors of the past damage the future, and we must do everything possible to minimize our contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we'll be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. That again, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.
Be strong.